I'm Bob Reddings of the Bob Reddings family of dealerships. See our huge inventory of about 2,000 vehicles by clicking on our ad at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome into the WTIM Morning Show, our third segment of the morning on WTIM, your information station. I'm your host, Tim Zalabak. Thank you so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. On the phone line now, we have Illinois State Senator Steve McClure of the 54th Senate District. How are you today, Senator?
Well, Tim, good to be with you.
Really good to have you here, and really a perfect time to be speaking with you because there's been a whole lot of movement out there in the political world. So let's talk about President Joe Biden, current President Joe Biden, announcing that he was dropping out of the race as of last night, and then more recently, Governor J.B. Pritzker, Illinois' governor there, has given his full endorsement to Vice President Kamala Harris. Your thoughts and your first initial feelings on all of this?
Well, I think it's hard to trust any endorsement from J.B. Pritzker because he's been on his own dime traveling around the country talking about how wonderful Joe Biden is, how qualified he is. Now, at what point did he realize that Joe Biden does not have the capacity at this time to be president or to run for re-election? And we'll never know at what point he realized that. But he did endorse Kamala Harris. I suspect that's because he wants to be her vice presidential candidate. And with the convention being in Chicago and with Governor Pritzker having unlimited personal funds, it should be interesting coming up. But again, Governor Pritzker is very political. That's why he was going around telling people how great Joe Biden is. And now he's going to be very political with this endorsement because he wants to be vice president. And the reason I say he wants to be vice president is because all of his policies seem to be directed towards an extreme left Democratic primary. Unfortunately, to the detriment of the people of Illinois, and now he wants to capitalize on that to try to get him on the national ticket, and it should be an interesting convention next month. Okay, so all really in an effort for J.B. Pritzker to become the next vice president. I didn't really quite think about that already. It's the first thing you as a senator will think about there. And did J.B. Pritzker have any other choice than to go? I mean, he did have a choice to not go on this campaign spree throughout the country, but then to support or endorse Joe Biden. Were other Democratic governors out there not in support? Well, Joe Biden had a primary, and that was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And then the Democratic power brokers said, basically, we're going to make this so that this is a coronation for Joe Biden. And then Robert F. Kennedy Jr. left the Democratic Party, ran as an independent. So, there were other options out there. And I know other people were at least discussed in news articles as being interested in running against Joe Biden. And now, once Joe Biden was obviously going to be the nominee, Pritzker decided that was going to be who he was going to support. By the way, Pritzker is one of those people that was, sort of whispered about as potentially a opponent for Joe Biden. Yeah. So now that this has happened, it's going to be really interesting to see, what comes next and how Pritzker tries to align himself. Are we going to see Pritzker going on national television to try to kind of audition like we're seeing this morning? One of the other potential VP choices has been making the television news shows and things. So we'll see what happens, but what a weird time for the country. I mean, who would have thought that we'd have an assassination attempt where we'd get a candidate that gets shot and then the sitting president drops out of the race, and, we've got another third-party candidate from one of the most prominent political families in American history. I mean, what a weird election cycle this has been.
It really has. It's just unprecedented with all of this. And of course, the timing of this dropout. And we haven't even gotten into today the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump there. Before we move any further on that, the implications on that, and what have you seen? What have the conversations been? Of course, we've all kind of been in tune with social media there. But what were your initial thoughts after that, the assassination attempt?
Well, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. Yeah. And then I wondered how it was possible, knowing how much security is important for Secret Service, for them to allow for some guy to be on a rooftop, not that far away from where the former President Trump was speaking. Yeah. To me, that was shocking. And then they say there's going to be some sort of investigation, to try to get behind or get to the bottom of how this happened. And, I don't know that I trust the people that were involved with this to investigate it, quite frankly. So, I was shocked. I thought, how on earth could this happen? Then he got several shots off. To me, a lot of things don't make sense about that assassination attempt. I'm very happy that President Trump is okay, but I'm very sad about that heroic firefighter who passed away and the two other people that were also injured. It's very, very sad. And of course, the firefighter and those two others that were also seriously injured, they've been in my thoughts and prayers. And it's a horrible, horrible situation. And it's shocking that it's happening right now in this country, especially given the climate. It did not help anything. And it was also shocking to hear about people on social media and, quite frankly, people saying things. I know that Jack Black was at some concert with his bandmates as part of the group Tenacious D, and he asked him what he wanted for his birthday, and he said that next time not to miss. That kind of stuff is sickening. That was just as shocking as the initial event, with the reactions to some people saying that he shouldn't have missed, and it was trending on Twitter and stuff like that. Where are we at as a country if we can't have reasonable political discourse without political violence? It's really crazy. And then, by the way, you read Governor Pritzker's statement endorsing Kamala Harris, he is again going back into this absolute hatred for Donald Trump that he has. It's really, really almost sickening to sort of see that. I mean, if you want to endorse Kamala Harris, that's your prerogative. Talk about why you're endorsing her. But to just go into just like personally going after President Trump yet again, it just seems like Governor Pritzker has some sort of a sickness.
Yeah, the tragedy of people losing people's lives definitely is at the top of the worst things that are coming out of that day. But like you said, the discourse that is coming out of this all over social media about, there are the comments that are saying, "Oh, I wish he wouldn't have missed," and then there are also comments about it being a hoax and that this was planned by some agencies. Like you said, we can't have reasonable conversations anymore out there, especially not on social media. And then there's going to be some sort of committee hearing to kind of investigate all of this, and you're still not really looking forward to seeing what's going to come out of that, and you're not really too trusting of that committee.
That's right. I mean, the head of the Secret Service needs to be fired. There's no question. But if we had a president right now, I think that president would fire the head of the Secret Service. However, guess what? I'm not sure we have a president right now. I mean, I saw Joe Biden in that debate, and I've seen what's been going on for the last few months with Joe Biden. I'm not sure who the president is right now.
So who's making the decisions out there? I always wonder this.
I don't know. Yeah, I really truly don't know.
Because that is one of the common things that people are saying out there, is that you see Joe Biden on the stage, and whether it's a debate or whether it's addressing a crowd there, you do tend to wonder who is making decisions there. Does he would he be able to just go ahead and fire a head of Secret Service there? Since he is president, even he even have some pull there for Secret Service for a former president.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Joe Biden. If he's not healthy enough to run for re-election, how is he healthy enough to continue being president?
Sure. Yeah.
Because the campaign doesn't have that much longer to go. We're already almost in August. The election's in November, and he said he just didn't have it was just better for him to not run. Again, who's president right now? And if you're not well enough to run for re-election, how are you well enough to be president until January?
Yeah, and of course, I'm not asking you to speak for the Democrats here, but does this seem like it was too late for President to announce this? Is this something that he should have announced long ago?
Well, if there had been debates in the Democratic nomination for president, and they would have been with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I suspect that Joe Biden would have had to have dropped out months ago. But because he was sheltered so much, not just by his own party, but by members in the media, I'm talking about the national press, he did not have that moment where he had to go on the stage by himself and answer questions and show whether or not he was competent. So really, you have to blame the media, and you have to blame the Democratic Party, who apparently, again, is not a big fan of democracy, because they're overruling the will of their own voters to have this backroom convention where deals are going to be made and the VP is going to be picked, etc. You have to blame the Democratic Party. You have to blame the national media for allowing this to happen. And so, yes, this is very late for President Biden to get out of the race, but he went kicking and screaming. He did not want to go out of the race. I mean, that's the report that I just read this morning, was that he didn't want to do it, but he just was essentially forced out. Again, you've got the sitting Democrat president who has won the nomination, got millions of votes from people all across the country, and now the so-called party that loves democracy, the Democratic Party, forces him out with backroom power brokers and politicians. They force their will over the will of the people, and you have to question why. And if they had concerns, like many of us had, why would you not allow him to debate in the Democratic primary for president? I mean, these are all really questions. And then, by the way, why was the debate so early?
Yeah.
We've never had a presidential debate this early. And I think in hindsight, it looks like the debate was so early to test whether or not Joe Biden could do it. And he obviously can't do it. But again, why wouldn't you want him to be tested during the primary? Why after he's already won the nomination?
Right.
Very bizarre.
Right. So now more upcoming is this Democratic National Convention, and it's just going to be a little bit more messy than we all would have predicted there. But there's going to be a lot of uncommitted Democratic delegates heading over to that. Have you heard any conversations, or is there a front runner? Are they all going to just try to go for Kamala and make it easy?
Well, it sure looks like Kamala's going to be the nominee without any issue, but the VP race is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And who all throws their name in the hat. And then, one of the top people that has been discussed as a potential VP candidate is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. But Kamala Harris is also, I'm not sure if Kamala Harris is still a resident of California or not, but if she's a resident of California and Gavin Newsom's obviously still a resident of California, electors cannot pick people from the same state in a ticket. So one of them would have to change their residency.
Wow.
And so that's if she was wanting to pick Gavin Newsom. So we'll see. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can guarantee, especially with the convention being in Chicago, that Governor Pritzker is going to do everything he possibly can to try to be the vice president.
Sure.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that all unfold, but learning a lot, breaking it all down with Illinois State Senator Steve McClure of the 54th Senate District in this WTIM morning show. We got a break right now. Much more to talk about when we come back. You're listening to the WTIM morning show.
Your information station, WTIM.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. We start the day higher across the board with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. September corn opening $3.95 and a quarter, up 4 3/4. December corn up 5 1/2, $4.10 and a quarter. March corn $4.24 and a quarter, up 5 3/4. August beans starting the day 11 and a half. It's up 14 1/4. September beans up 17 and a half, 10.54 and a quarter. New crop November 10.56, up 20. September wheat up 1 1/2, 5.44 and a quarter. December wheat 5.69 1/2, up 1 1/2. March wheat 5.90 and a quarter, up 1 3/4. August bean meal 3.40.60, that's up 3.80, and August bean oil 46.90, up 34 cents. Opening numbers on this Monday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Providing banking solutions that fit your business needs is at the core of what we do. Hi, this is Jim Adcock with People's Bank and Trust. We understand the complexity that many SBA, USDA, FSA, and other loan options can present, but more importantly, we can help you navigate those decisions to secure the best loan choice for your business. Call 888-PBT-1954 or visit bankpbt.com today and let us put you and your business first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Here's another lifestyle medicine message from Dr. Pavi Gill at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
Part of our lifestyle medicine practice is having our advanced radiology team available. They offer the latest imaging technology for accurate diagnosis and treatment planning. Let our team help you to a healthier lifestyle.
Book your lifestyle medicine appointment with Dr. Gill by calling Springfield Clinic, Taylorville, and improve your quality of life.
The Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum is the official home of Cardinals history. For those who want to be a part of one of the sport's greatest collections in the world, museum membership is the way to go. Cardinals Museum membership provides unlimited admission for 1 year, exclusive Hall of Fame bobbleheads, discounts, ticket offers, and more, in addition to supporting exhibit design and artifact restoration. There are a variety of membership levels, including our ultimate level of membership. For more info and to join, go to cardinals.com/membership.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road?
Get over!
First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death.
What if it's you that's on the side of the road? Do you want everybody to move over for you?
Do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back into the WTIM morning show. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. We've been talking with Illinois State Senator Steve McClure of the 54th Senate District, all about the exodus of Joe Biden for this second term and the incoming of Kamala Harris, all of the next presidential candidate on the Democratic side there. And Illinois, how Illinois is working into all of that there. Senator McClure, you do have a veto session upcoming. Is that right?
We do in November,
Okay.
and that's typically used for when the governor's vetoed bills, and then you go to try to either override the vetoes or try to work on the bills and pass them again with amendments. But obviously, with the governor having a supermajority in both the House and the Senate, the governor doesn't really veto bills at this point. So usually there are some controversial bills that are negotiated and some things like that. So we'll see what happens in veto session. It should be interesting.
Okay, kind of brings us to a session that might not be talked about enough, and the way you describe it just seems every year this deserves more attention. But this is a lame duck legislative session. Describe the lame duck, why it means that, and what happens at this session every year.
Yep, lame duck session is every 2 years, where right after the election, you have people that either did not run for re-election or lost their bid for re-election, and they go back into the Capitol, into a session, and all of a sudden they vote on all kinds of bills, and whatever they vote on, there are going to be no political ramifications for them because they're out of politics. And that's a session that I dread, and I think most lawmakers dread, even on the other side of the aisle, they dread it as well. And the Safety Act bill, and that's the bill that took away cash bail and took away the ability of police to keep in jail quite a few different types of suspects and things. That was passed in a lame duck session. And a lot of people that voted on that bill didn't have any political ramifications because they were leaving office or they didn't run for re-election. And in the House, just to give you an example, even with that environment where you had lots of people that did not have any political concerns because they were getting out of politics, it only passed by 1 vote in the House. And so these sessions are usually late night sessions as well. The Safety Act passed like 4:30 in the morning for the Senate Republicans to deal with that without even having the chance to read the bill was pretty outrageous. But hey, it is what it is. And that's kind of what I'm dreading, and that should be in January. And we'll just see what bills emerge during that session. Hopefully none of them. But I have very bad feelings about lame duck sessions, and I don't like them, and I hope that we don't have much of one this year, but unfortunately I'm hearing rumblings that we're going to have quite the lame duck session, and we'll just have to go there and see what happens.
Sure. Sometimes it is quite a mystery to me about how some of these legislations are passed, and then the way you describe it there. The amount of talking we do on this show, the amount of work that you senators, representatives do day in and day out. How can it be that after all that work and all conversations with constituents that it's these last minute legislative moves that make it in and that make it law? It just seems interesting.
It's not right, and I think the citizens of our state deserve better. And this is why we have shows like this, so I can talk about this stuff, and so people are aware of what's happening.
Senator McClure, we're out of time, but I really appreciate you for bringing many of these issues to light and taking the time month after month with us.
Good to be with you. Absolutely.
Steve McClure, Illinois State Senator of the 54th Senate District. We appreciate his time. This has been the WTIM Morning Show right here on WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle is testifying